Previously in the GodBreaking. Deep beneath the waves and the ocean surface of Lunaria, our heroes interacted with and played the political games of the merfolk. The Zovari is their general species name. There in the city, the capital city of Lumos, you tried to placate or gain the favor of one Queen Delvinia, High Queen of the Lumosian nation. Elwyn, you specifically were trying to court her favor, and had gained status as one of her suitors. She had put together some kind of ridiculous and twisted game where she arbitrarily would pick a contest, and you and the other two suitors would have to vie for her favor. One of them was to see how many heads you could attain from the invading Depatian army. You went out there, and I think you got what, like 1,500 heads or something like that.
Yeah, it was ridiculous.
As I recall, your enemies or your rival suitors only had somewhere in the order of 30 to 50 each.
Yep.
But as you were returning, so that was the current state of things. There is a large invading force coming in to attack Lumos. As of now, they are 1 day's march away, and the queen doesn't seem too concerned, or had not at that point. She'd been using them to as part of her game. In that moment, though, Adis decided that he wanted to take the tide shard away from the queen, so he attacked her, and in the process severed her arm, and grabbed the tide shard from her floating, dismembered arm. The guards and General Roman of the undersea army instantly all turned on him. Out of the woodwork of the basically casters and arcane defenders rose, and they helped to temper Adis's casting ability through counter spells and by casting disintegrates. Arrows and harpoons flew. General Roman himself went up to Adis and battered into him fully with his trident of power. And at the end of that very quick interaction, Adis, you lay dead in the water. Not just unconscious, but fully dead. Renly and Deimos, you guys went and did your best to heal the queen. She's still in a bit of shock, but for the moment, when you're helping her regrow her arm, your regrowth spell was successful. It's just in the process of regrowing right now. She's like a Deadpool. She's pulling a Deadpool right now.
I was thinking that.
And Elwyn, that's at that moment where you arrive. You had been swimming back, or you had I forgot how were you getting back?
Since I had the little shard thingy, whatever, I was able to persuade some of the dudes that I was in charge now, so they brought me back.
Wait, what shard thingy?
The tide shard or the tide crystal?
Oh, that's right. You borrowed it from.
Lord.
Yeah, you borrowed it from Lamprax, Depth Lord Lamprax.
Yeah, that's his name.
Yeah, didn't you give it back to him at the end though?
Yeah. No, I gave it to the prince.
Okay.
Oh no, I did give it back to him.
You did. You returned it to Depth Lord Lamprax to show that you meant no ill will.
Yeah, and I gave my victories to the prince.
That's right. Okay, so at this moment, Queen Delvinia is in shock. She's still there. She's sitting there. There's a kind of a blank, forlorn stare on her face. She's doing like a 1,000-yard stare. She's just gazing out into nowhere. She's holding her arm, as you can slowly see the flesh and bone reknitting themselves. Um, Elwyn, Deimos, and Renly, your actions have temporarily put a hold on any aggressions towards you right now. In returning the Tide Shard and in healing the Queen, that's everyone is kind of in this state right now, where they're looking around, and you've shown that you're not really enemies, but they're still very suspicious and very angry at what has happened. Okay?
I think I brought up the fact that there might be some like fuckery at play. That if it was possible at all, that somebody here could have controlled our lesser powerful friend to perform these actions. And I believe the prince said that his people had that capability, that he wasn't personally involved, but it could have happened.
That's correct. Yes. Okay. So we're back now at this point where we left off last week. All the major players have re-arrived, and let's see. I'll bring General Roman in as well. General Roman is holding. He's basically towing Adis's body behind him in the water. Depth Lord Lamprax is furious. He's thrashing back and forth. He says, "What is the meaning of this? How dare you, while we are away fighting a war with an invading force of Debatians, you strike at the Queen herself." He levels his blade directly at Renly and Deimos. Elwyn, you're kind of in between them and Lamprax.
I told you I vouch for these people.
Yeah.
You threaten them, knowing everything that we've seen together.
He says, "And did you also vouch for the one who struck the Queen herself?"
He was never in the presence of the Queen when I was there. He was left outside for a reason. And that's true.
General Roman is dragging the body in. He says, "Is it not true that this one was one of your own?"
Yes, he traveled with us. That doesn't mean that his mind was meddled with. Even the prince himself said that it was possible.
Orca says, "It is indeed possible, General. The ability to manipulate one's mind is not not without the realm of possibility."
I tell the general, "Are you doubting me? You're my boy, Blue."
Lamprax says, "I call whale shit on all of this."
You can call it whatever you want. It doesn't mean that you're not right.
Zivarishi steps into the fray and she says, "Gentlemen, let us not come to blows when answers are required. Please, allow me and my investigators to seek the truth of this matter. I do believe, however, that there are larger threats and larger concerns presently assaulting us. The Queen is well, the Tide Shard is returned, and justice has been met out for the moment. I advise you to seek out the defense of our city while I investigate."
Sivarisi, you are as beautiful as you are wise. I agree with her. Besides, Deep Throat Lab Rat wouldn't handle even one of my strikes.
Yeah, it's very true.
Jivri, she says to you, Elwyn, she says, I am beautiful and wise, yes, but best keep your eyes to yourself and your hands as well. I am sworn to another.
And that one is sworn to me. So we can do the triple.
She pauses, and she looks at you very curiously. One of her eyebrows raises. She says, "Is this a?" She holds on. She says, "Is this common in your culture, Deimos?"
Yeah. I have no idea what's going on.
She's never heard of the Devil's Triangle, Deimos.
You haven't heard it, but she's in the water. You know, it's like where all the ships sink, right? That's what we're talking about, right? Okay. Bermuda
Sure.
Triangle.
Oh, you're starting a new harem, I think. New plane, new rules. New gender.
Different zip code.
Yep.
Worry about this nut. We must face the task at hand. We must get that third shard.
So a few of Jivarishi's attendants come and they take Adis's body, and they begin. They take it. They start removing it and bring it away. I will bring this body to my laboratory, and there we will investigate.
Will you probe him?
There'll be much poking and probing, yes.
Good.
Yes.
I think he likes that.
She pauses and she looks at you guys again. She says, I knew I should have visited the surface when I was younger. I hear such wonderful stories.
How old are you?
She says, for you, Deimos, all you need know is that I am in my prime.
I don't see why. Where are the two other ones talking to each other?
What? Oh, you
Oh,
see her as an
damn.
Elwyn?
Yep, still seeing there's an L1.
Okay. Alright. Jivarishi brings the body away. What do the rest of you do?
I contemplate about sacrificing my wish spell to have Deimos no longer be afraid of tentacles.
Okay.
No,
I start hunting for my stone, and then I whisper to it, Edith, Edith, you're there. Edith. And I'm still very drunk, and not yet gotten to the hungover stage. That'll come later.
Okay. You hear no reply from Adis, of course.
I continue tapping on it.
I go over to Tempest.
Okay.
And I tell him, Tempest, my friend, you have brought enlightenment upon me. Your words made me understand what must be done here. And I grasp his shoulder and I say, you are meant for the divine. And you will always have a friend in me. I'll try to keep Deimos from being as much as a fanboy, but, you know, throw him a little slack every once and again. He's like your biggest fan.
He pauses. He looks at you for a bit, and he considers you. Renly. He purged the alcohol from his mind when he reached out to you, Elwyn, in that moment. And he says, "I'm glad you saw the light." He says, that one, and he points at Deimos. He says, "is concerning to me. His actions and his demeanor and the words he chooses to use." They remind me of one who is unwell in the head.
Keep in mind, Tempest, that he's been lied to. He's been devoted to what he thought was you for his whole life. And he just figured out that that was a lie. You might think upon that before you chastise him.
I understand one who does not wish to let go of one's delusions. I can have a bit of grace for that, I suppose. Then he goes,
Yep.
very well.
I mean, Deimos's traumas gods and tentacles. Yep. Yep.
Deimos, he walks up to you. He puts one hand on your shoulder, just like like a slap on your shoulder, and he says, Deimos,
Yes.
he says, do not fear. He says, for while I am not your deity, I would be proud to count myself as one of your friends.
Right, I'm confused. You're Tempest, right? Means you're the god Tempest.
He says, divine I am not. He says, but I would gladly raise my blade alongside you.
Deimos is all squinty eyes, and he is definitely thinking this is a test.
He's just like, okay. You, I get you, Tempest. You count on me as always. Here, this the number one follower of Demos over here.
He says, he pauses and he kind of shakes his head at you, and he says, well, if you must follow me, then I ask this. Do not follow me as a worshipper. Follow me as a soldier follows a general. Or perhaps a sergeant. One who he trusts with his life.
Spoken as a true god of war. I knew I could always count on you, Tempest.
A naked
To lead
mud
us.
wrestling. I mean,
I'm already almost naked. Now get over here, Tempest. I found some mud over this way.
He kind of like takes his hand back from your shoulder, and he says, I believe this is enough camaraderie building for now. I will be over there by the hors d'oeuvre table.
Very good. Tempest will be done. Thank you.
Alright.
So I walk up to Deimos and I prestidigitate his his tidy whities from the stains that just appeared, and I say,
You didn't see that, did you?
"No,
Good,
no,
good, good.
Deimos. It was just a slight twitch, and I fixed it before you saw it.
Thanks, bro.
You see,
That was a close
there's
one.
there's hope. We can still make him divine."
Alright. So while you guys are doing that, you see quite the commotion going on. General Roman is there, along with Subprince Oricus and Depth Lord Lamprax, and several other advisors and high-ranking officials from the basically the ruling council of Lumos. General Roman says, "This is a military catastrophe. We have an untold number of the patients with nearly upon our doorstep. We must act. I am in favor of declaring martial law and allowing the armed forces to take full control of the city. We must defend our people. We must strike down this invading force."
I step in, and I say, "General, I second you. I am not of your people, but I am versed in the arts of war, and so are my friends. They might have an army, but we have an Elwyn."
Subprince Orcus says, I am not objecting to waging war or concerning ourselves with the battle, but we must think of the civilians. I and mine will fight, but surely you must know this is a hopeless affair. We all saw the army. It numbers in the millions.
Well, then let's think of this. Let's look at this from the top down. There's some army marching towards us. We have a lot of civilians. Why don't you, and I tell the sub-prince, why don't you take charge of keeping the civilians safe? General, you mount a mission to slow the army down any way possible, while we, and I point to our companions and myself and even Deep Throat, we take charge of getting that shard back. That's our only hope.
there's some discussion and some pondering of what's going on here. Roll a persuasion check, Elwin.
Hell yeah. Yeah, I will. I don't have luckies. Never mind.
Lamprex says, "You believe that I will venture forth into the depths of the sea, on some fool's errand to a lost realm, well, there is war to be waged here."
It's understandable if you're scared. I don't
Yes,
blame you.
Look
If
at
you
it.
don't wish to go, then we shall. We have no fear in venturing into that void that you speak of.
"You have yet to see the full power of my tide shard, the light of the sea. I will defend this city. I will bring my armies to bear, and as I do so, I will win the heart and the body of Queen Dalvinia."
Yes, and it will all be very pretty and glittery, as
That was not what it was. That was power. That was light. That was the might of the sea reflecting off my bones. That was my pure potential waiting to be unleashed. It was not glitter.
Lamprex,
It was fabulous,
you made the best drag queen under the sea.
It was
And-
sparkly as fuck.
and you know that without the third shard and your glittery power, then the folks here will just be able to see how they are destroyed in a more pretty way.
He says, you see him kind of just like moping around a little bit, and Deimos next to you, Lamprey comes up, and she says, "Brother," she says, "Lamprey's brother is proud. Lamprey's brother is also very insecure. Lamprey's brother," she says, says, "wants to think that his tide shard is as powerful as Queen Delvinia's, but he has never been able to do anything other than bright, shiny glitters."
Overcompensating.
Oh, shit. Mr. Lamprexidouche. I think what you need is a Ford F-350 extended cab. I think we can hook you up with one.
That, or
Carry around that big load you got going on.
you can also open a strip club.
Oh, dude, Lamprexy, you would make such a good stripper.
he
I mean, are called deep throat. I mean, you have a name right there.
Yes.
Oh, I see a whole chain of deep throats.
Oh my goodness. Deep throat, get over here. We should go get the other shard.
he
Maybe you can show us how to not glitter things with your shard along the way. I believe in you. As in Tempest believes in all of us.
he says, "I am a warrior born," he says, "and
But
I
that-
want nothing to do with Anwen. It's a fool's errand." Lamprey, she says, she's translating for him, Damo. She says into your, and she whispers into your ear, "He is scared."
Do not be afraid, young slimy boy who makes sparkles. You will guide the way and light it with your sparkly sparkles. And we could really use you like Santa Claus could use Rudolph and his red nose.
He says, "You already have full use of my sister Lamprey.
But we need you.
She is a guide form. She can illuminate your way,
She's a stronger one.
and she
The
is
siblings.
already sworn to you. She is yours to use as you wish."
I hold up a hand. Deimos, he
Yes.
might be right.
Okay.
Venturing into where we have to go, we need someone strong. We need someone to guide us without having to worry about losing another stone.
That's true.
He's better off here.
Yes.
He
It's
pauses.
okay.
He's like,
Deep throat.
With
but
the
I am strong. I am strong.
Of course you are, deep throat lamb crack. Yeah, so strong. But we need somebody a little bit stronger. We're going to, I guess, take your sister. Is that your recommendation?
Yes, it is my recommendation, but I am strong. Do not
No,
make
no, no.
a mistake in not knowing that I am
course you
strong.
are. Shh, of course
Deep
you
throat,
are.
small cock. Hold on. You will stay here because you're in possession of one of the stones, and
That's right, that's what I've been saying.
Yeah, we can't worry that you're weak enough, and if something happens, then we lose the second one. So you stay here.
You have no idea how strong I am. Once I unleash the full power of my Tide Shard, I
stick my
will
finger up to
tear
his
down
mouth,
the enemies
and
before
I
me.
just go,
Shh, in his mouth. Mister, you don't have to go. But I just don't want to have to work harder to take care of you along the way. It would just be more inconvenient for us. So we'll take your stronger sibling with us to lead the way so you don't drop your stone. How is that so?
I turn to the general, and I say, General, is there someone that can guide your army so you can take Smallcock's place in our party?
The general says, he says, my first responsibility is here to Queen Delvinia. Yes. And if you truly are divine, as I believe you are, then you will need the full weight of your power, and there will be nothing that I can add to your venture.
General, again, you astound me with your wisdom. Then I shall charge you, General, to hold this army at bay. Use Deep Throat Smallcock to aid you in this. Prince, you will be in charge of the civilians and the Queen, keeping them safe, while we venture into the unknown and trying to save this land, just like I said that we would. But there's one small thing.
Sub-Prince Orcus goes, yes?
How long will the anal probing take to figure out what happened? We might be able to use our less skilled friends' shape-shifting powers to aid us in this.
So we'll cut now to where Adis is. Adis, go ahead and roll me 3 d20s.
Okay. Individual or all at once?
All at once.
Okay.
Okay?
Shit.
Those are tentacle locations as Giverisi is probing you.
Oh my god.
Well, I'm dead, so I'm not aware of
Oh
it.
god.
So, you'd have to go talk to her and see what she's come up with. She brought her Adis's body away to her lab. The rest of you guys.
I say, Renly,
Yeah.
would you mind going and see how the anal probing is going?
Wait, was that actually Adis? Wait, no. What?
I cast message, and I say, really? You're asking if that was Ada's? Come on. Try to fix this.
Wait, if he's actually dead, we need to bring him back. Shit.
No, hold on. He severed the queen's hand, and he caused all this mayhem. And I'm trying to convince them that he was mind fucked.
Bring him back later when he won't fuck it up again. Okay, we'll wait.
But try
Can
to
we
figure
get-
out what Zivarisi has come up with.
Okay. I'll brew some tea on the way. Okay.
Alright, so
Deimos.
Alright, you're gonna head over to the lab.
Yep.
Deimos,
Hmm?
come close to me, brother.
Are you right next to you, bro.
Closer.
I can't. I'm already. Why are you in my whitey tighties?
You've read my mind. I need a bro hug.
Bro,
This is fucked.
dude, I don't know what to do. But if we hug it out, things might work with our powers combined.
I'm gonna use the Deimos handling check to give him a badass bro hug.
I would use.
Deimos is like, I don't even know what's been going on under the seas, but I needed that hug.
Shh, 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 shh.
Okay.
Just go. Okay, we have our moment, and then I say,
Well,
General.
As you're embracing, you see Lamprey. She's there swimming like pretty close to General to Deimos, and she starts illuminating like pulses of bright light from her, just like flashes and like, kind of like almost like an alarm,
Disco ball?
not like an alarm, right?
Ooh.
And she says, alert, alert. She says, alert, must contact Jivarishi. Jivarishi, instructed Lamprey, she as Deimos' betrothed, master's betrothed, told me to warn of anyone else approaching physical intimacy with Deimos. Must sound alert, alert.
Oh, Lamprey.
I quickly pull my
don't
finger
touch.
out of Deimos' butt.
Oh, oops.
This is normal in our world.
This is how the land people do it.
She pauses. She says, you do not wish me to contact Jivarishi?
No.
She
One
says,
that is betrothed to Deimos is also betrothed to me.
she says, Lamprey is confused. Lamprey
Hey,
thought,
Brian. Shh. Why don't you join us in the underwear?
she says, no, Lamprey cannot. Lamprey is just 12 years old.
Holy fucking shit.
I'm cool with it. I mean, no. No. You're not welcome in the underwear.
You're cut off.
Renly, you get to Jivarishi's lab. You see her, Adis is floating on like a bed of like seaweed, and she and several others of her species are around. You see a lot of them with tablets and flashes of light going around these blitzing back and forth across these little invisible almost tendrils as information is flying all around this area.
That's a lot of tentacles. Where's that? What? I'm not going to ask. Have you found anything?
She says, Jivarishi pauses. She says, oh, Renly. We have just
Yeah?
begun a probing of this one's body. It seems,
Hey.
she says, we've begun to tap into the subconscious, the remnants of his medulla, the brain stem. There are still signals going back and forth as there has not been quite the necropathy of the flesh yet. So we are able to gain some information. It seems that the psyche of this individual was darkened, greatly scarred by some long series of events. There was blackness in his soul for sure.
So what you're saying is he needed therapy?
She says,
Anal therapy.
she says, I am just recording facts right now. Also, the genital region of this one had not been touched for some couple of centuries.
How can you tell?
Uh,
Wait. do I
Our
want to
methods
know?
are our own.
No, actually I do. Oh, damn it. Tell me more. I start pouring tea.
She says, the body was malformed, much pain and torment, stress and anxiety floating through this one's unique physiology. It is my deduction that it is possible that he was not in his right mind, although, with the darkness that he holds within, he may have been acting of his own accord.
So your conclusion is
She says, that I have no conclusion yet. I must do some more probing.
I see. I will leave you to that, I guess. I mean, do you really? Yeah, you will need the body for the probing. Okay, but I'll be back. I ran off to tell Elwin and everybody about the probing.
Okay. Alright, so, is there anything else you guys want to do? Or are you gonna go try to go off to find the other shard? Or what else?
So we know that like this water breathing is gonna last like a really, really, really long time, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Just as a backup, do you think they have any potions of water breathing or stuff like that, just in case something happens?
Depth Lord Lambrecht says to you guys, he says, are you fucking retarded? When you are on the surface, do you carry around portions of air breathing?
Actually, yes. They're called inhalers, asshole. And so people need them.
He says,
I
as
look
is,
at him like, are you stupid? Of course you do.
What
It is as I
wrong with you,
suspected.
Mr. Lamprecht?
all you surface dwellers are retarded.
Mr. Lamprecht, come over here. I'm gonna go tie you into random knots.
Do not touch me. If you attempt to touch me, I will unleash the full power of my tide shard upon you.
Aaron,
Oh,
do
you'll
you
be
want to see me
shiny.
dancing in the
Oh,
light?
You have not seen the power of my tide shard.
I have not, but I bet I would look very good in those burgers.
It is something to be
pass me
feared.
The oil, Deimos.
Lamprecht, what is the vehicle you took to get here? Or
Ah.
are you too primitive to where you don't have one?
He says, it is my travel form. All the members of my species have multiple forms that we can enter. Lamprey is in guide form right now. I am in battle form. That is my natural form because I am always about battle. See my power. And he flexes.
Oh, it's cute. I remember when I was 7 years old. Brought back memories. Actually, I don't remember being 7. No biggie. But there's no vehicles or anything like that. Or large aquatic
Vehicles?
things we can ride on.
I say, stop speaking to him, Deimos. He's not powerful enough. He doesn't even want to go with us.
He doesn't know what an inhaler is. Goodbye, Mr. Lamcock.
I have no time to be wasted on fanciful attempts to
I
hide
speak
from battle.
for
I will charge
Father.
face first into the battle and not hide by going off to some dead part of the ocean to seek out these people who are long since dead.
We already got it, bro. You're scared. Don't worry. So, what was the name of the first creature that gave me great pleasure?
Oh, Gilly?
Gilly?
Gilly. I look for Gilly.
Gilly. Alright, you find, or Gelly, what was her name? Like jelly with a G.
Yeah.
Alright, you find her floating around and bopping around. Her species again like bounce in the water.
Hi,
Off-
Gilly.
She's bouncing around down by the what do you call it? The hors d'oeuvre table.
Gilly, may I speak to you for a sec?
Gelly has found most wondrous things. Look. She points out. She's little edibles, little bites. Gelly loves.
Oh, I love finger foods, Gilly. You are right. They're magnificent, aren't they?
Yes, Gelly has found all sorts of new pleasures. Would Fire God from Sky like Gelly to share pleasures?
Gilly, I would love, but not right now. I actually have a question to ask of you.
Yes.
You know those lines that we found that allowed us to teleport here very, very quickly.
She says, "You mean Gelly's tendrils? That is how Gelly
Yes,
sees across ocean and members of Gelly's species. That is how we communicate. We send
Gelly,
thoughts along these lines."
Gelly, I need you to try very hard. Your kingdom, now that I'm invested in this, our kingdom depends on this. Can you reach out through these lines and find another of your species or somewhere else, someone else that's closer to the maw or where we need to go so that we can get there quickly and beat this army to it? We need to travel there quickly, Gelly. I know that you are special and you can do this. Can you do that for me?
She smiles. She says, "Gelly can do this." She says, "There are many others of Gelly's species out in the depths of the ocean. We stand and watch and send information along lines. Our tendrils interact, they touch, and we can share thoughts with each other."
Good, Gelly. Do this for me and I will allow you to give me as much pleasure as you want.
She smiles. She says, "Gelly happy." Um. So she pauses for a second, and you can see her focusing, and like you can't see them, but her tendrils are already spread out way deep into the ocean. She says, "Yes, Gelly sees. There are 3 of Gelly's type." She says, near safe line."
Good, Gelly. That is wonderful. Which one is the closest to the location that we must go?
She says, "Here," and one of her tendrils kind of like wraps around your hand, and you feel a tingle of pleasure, but you also see a little bit of flash of light travel along the tendril, and it kind of like hits you, and you see a mental image. So here's Lunaria. All right, you guys are pretty far away. You guys are by the orange circle right over here on the bottom right. What Gelly's saying is that there is a safe line, a safe zone that they can. It's basically the closest to the maw that they can get, without threat of being caught up in its whirlpool, right? And it's about that size. Any closer, and they would be sucked in irresistibly. So she says there's one of that through a network of others of her species, she can connect various lines of tendrils to get you. So like from here to here, it hits another one of her species. It hits here to get you pretty close to the line of safety.
Gelly, that is wonderful. Can you keep this line intact while we make a plan?
Gelly says, "Yes, Gelly can."
Thank you, Gelly. I'm going to go speak with my people. Keep that line intact. I'll be back. Keep eating your finger foods.
she pauses for a second and she says, "Gelly has question."
Yes, Gelly.
She says, "Gelly is a little bit embarrassed to ask, but you from surface might be able to answer."
I will absolutely try to answer your question.
She says, "What is it like up there?"
Gelly is a world so diverse from your own.
Gelly has
It is
often thought about what it would be like to be up there, part of the surface, part of your world.
Gelly, after we save your city, would you like to come to the surface with me?
Gilly says, "Oh, what I would give if I could live out of these waters."
Gelly, you don't have anything that you must give.
What would I
I will
pay to spend a day warm on sand?
Gelly, you don't have to pay anything. I will take you with me, and we'll spend a day in the sand.
She says, "I'll bet." Gelly bets that on land they understand that they don't reprimand their daughters.
You'd be surprised, but when you're with me, no one would reprimand you ever. And on sand, I will be the one that gives you pleasure.
Okay. All right. So, she's gonna keep her network open, and you can go back to your
All right.
deliberations.
So, guys, I get the team together.
Yo, yo, yo.
Bros and Renly. You're a bro too. Never mind. Bros.
Yes.
So, this is what I'm thinking. We get like close to the maw, and we start getting sucked in. Deimos,
Yes.
you pop your bubble,
Yes.
and we let the maw take us to the center. And that's all I got.
We could probably figure that out. We'll maybe find a way to make my bubble last longer. But I'm down. Let's go into the maw.
Sub Prince Orcus, says, "Pardon me, I managed to overhear a bit of your conversation. You wish to go into the maw?"
That's where the other shard is rumored to be, isn't it?
He says, "Not quite. The maw was located at this. The nation of Anwen was closest to the maw. It was certainly within the line of safety, but it was not in the heart of the maw itself."
Well, where's it at, bro?
Yeah, right.
He says, to the west of the maw. Okay, so here's the map. Anwen, the capital of, would have been like right around here on the old maps. Of course, the nation has the world has greatly changed once the maw, like before all these continents, there was a lot more landmass, and all these continents were connected to each other, and there were island archipelagos and stuff like that. But the maw basically like arrived, it showed up in the middle of a continent, and all that landmass was just sucked down into it, and the ocean began to flow in and fill that void. Beneath the surface of Anwen, the underwaters nations were also dragged into the maw. So that box right there is kind of where the capital was.
Well then, Sub-Prince, I had this idea all wrong. So my plans are obviously at fault. What do you think would be the best way to reach our destination?
If you wish to venture to the lost city of Anwen, he thinks for a second. There is one species that is able to traverse the waters inside the line, beyond the line of safety. He says, beyond the point where the tide is strong enough, the currents grow violent, and only the strongest of sea creatures can survive. There's only one species that we know of travels freely within that zone. I believe you encountered one, or at least I've heard tale of you encountering one on your way to us. They are the Dark Ones, the grand remnants of the invading demon horde, the megaliths that plague our lands and terrorize our borders.
Deimos,
Yep,
we must tame one of them.
very good. This sounds like a thing we could easily do. And I'm down.
As a reminder, you guys technically have one.
Do they? What do they have one?
Yeah, there's one that's turned into a dagger in my bag. Remember?
Isn't it dead though?
Yeah, but you can bring it back.
Deimos, what's that voice?
I don't know. It sounded like it came from. I have no idea.
The far beyond.
The band.
I honestly did not remember that, but now I do, since you reminded me.
Okay.
Prince, where would we find one of these creatures?
He says, venture out into the deep ocean. Bring with you light. Draw attention to yourself. They will find you.
Where's Deep Throat?
Deep throat Lancock.
Hold on. I have an easier plan. It might be a little bit,
Deep Throat, Deimos says you can't fight the Dark One because you're scared.
I didn't say that, but it is.
that was a really good plan too, but no. I was thinking that, it might be politically incorrect, but we can stop this probe into Adis's butthole and use him to transform into one of those creatures so he can swim us there.
That sounds good. Oh wait, look, there's that Lord, Deep Throat, that Lord. Yeah, no,
He says, I
hey,
heard somebody saying my name without my permission.
yeah, Deimos said that you were too scared to fight the Dark One.
He says, I have slain many Dark Ones in my time. They've tasted my blade. They felt my claw. They've seen the power of my tide shard as my light pierced through them.
Deimos said that you were too busy fisting the patience to bother with the Dark One.
He says, he says, how does Deimos know that? I see you are trying to pull a fast one upon the Lord Lamprax.
It's only if you were in your travel form, you would have been too fast for us to pull one over on you.
What do you want from me?
You got any of those dark ones somewhere? Tamed ones.
Only their bones, only their skin as we shred it from their bodies.
Wait, you got other people? No, I meant just the ones you got.
They kind of pause and they look back at each other. He says, we are not in the habit of keeping their bodies, or of keeping them alive. We go out on hunts. They are dangerous, you know. We take a group of us, skilled hunters, and we track them. We lure them close, and then we attack and slay them. We are, of course, highly skilled, so we only manage to lose half our numbers in the process on every hunt. But we know that other species and other hunting parties lose far more than that. So that is why we are the best warriors.
That's cool. Is that one of those little fishes we took out along the way over here?
He pauses. He says, little fishes. You know not what to speak. They are large. They are powerful in mind and the body. They would tear you limb from limb.
I tell him, oh, hold on. Gelly, would you come here, please?
Gelly comes bobbing over.
Gelly, would you please tell this gentleman what I did to one of the deep ones?
Just fire god from sky went up to Deep One himself and she says, large surges of power went forth from his glorious divine form and struck down Deep One in instant.
I kind of dropped the mic.
Lamprex goes,
But he did lose, so actually no, he didn't lose anything. I guess we're the best hunting party.
Walk away.
he says, you must have come across a very young one, a very small baby one. I do not fight baby deep ones because I am a man, because I am powerful, and I have great tide shard here. You see tide shard?
Yes, yes, I do.
You know what? Let's just do this.
Let's
I-
shoot.
Look.
Yes, slayer of baby deep ones.
Okay, me, Slayer of Baby Deep Ones, would like to challenge you, supposedly Slayer of non-Baby Deep Ones.
That's right.
Do you want to go at it? Do you want to have a sparring session real quick?
You and
Just
me
with
fight
the
right
rest.
now.
Yes.
Man on man. Only the most powerful will win.
I agree.
He says, why would I do that? He spits at you.
I will. As he spits at me, I'm going to cast Pepin's Indisputable Fact on him.
Okay.
And I want to say, you know you want to prove that you're stronger than me.
Is there a save?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
What's-
There's intelligence saving throw.
Intelligence saving throw.
34.
He rolled an 8.
Let's settle this once and for all. You know you want to prove that you're stronger than me. The winner
He says,
shall direct your army.
he pauses for a second, and he says, you mean, if you win, you get power over my army. What do I get if I win?
What do you want?
He says, all your points, so that I may be the one who weds the queen.
Agreed.
He says, very well, it is done. So, you hear some commotion as all the courtiers and all the merfolk in the area have acknowledged this formal challenge, this formal duel between the two of you. Sub-Prince Orcus says, gentlemen, I ask you, is this the wisest course of action? We do have an army that is less than 1 day's march from our borders.
Fear not, Prince. I will not harm him too greatly.
He says, I trust, then, your discretion. And he kind of bows out. General Roman says, according to our laws, the right of a challenge must be acknowledged. Even though I think this is foolhardy, I will allow it. He says, he orders his guards to clear an area. He says, according to our ancient traditions, let the terms of the duel be set. He says, which one of you will choose the weapons? Lamprex looks at you. He says, do you wish to have weapons, or would you like to fight with bare claws?
I leave that up to you.
He looks at you. He's like, you don't have any weapons, do you have, Elwyn, on your body?
Just my staffs.
He says, I choose for our weapons, he says, the trident.
I agree.
So he pulls out a wicked-looking serrated trident.
I go up to Deimos and hand him my staffs.
General Roman says, and since the Depth Lord Lamprax has chosen the weapon, he says, you may choose the terms. Is it to first blood, or is it to the death?
Oh, as I know I can kill him, but let's call it the first one that succumbs, the first one that taps.
Submission. He says, it has been acknowledged. Alright. So a large crowd of merfolk begin to gather around. And since you're in the water, they don't just gather around, on the ground, but it's a three-dimensional kind of stacking. So there's like a circle forms around you, probably a 30-foot radius
Hold on.
of
Before
spectators. Yeah.
we go, can I, if I put my staffs across my back sheath, would that like go against the rules if I don't use them?
No, if you don't use them, that's fine.
Okay, I'll keep them on me then. That way I can keep my bonuses.
Okay. And so a 30-foot ring of fish folk are around you watching, and above them another ring and another ring, slightly larger and slightly larger. So they're forming basically their own stadium, and like fish formation, swimming, just around you guys. So you look around, and many denizens from the city are coming out, and over the course of the next 10 minutes, you attract quite the crowd. As notification messages and flickers of light go flashing all over the place. Soon you have thousands and thousands of fish folk watching.
Nice.
Okay?
I don't even crack my fingers.
Alright.
I say, you know what? I yield to you the first move. I'll let him go first.
Alright, so General Roman says, according to the deep laws and traditions of our people, we acknowledge this, the right of challenge. On one side we have Depth Lord Lamprax, Lord of the remnants of Votelin, bearer of the Tide Shard, he of claw and multiple forms. On the other
And
we have
glitter.
Elwyn. On the other we have Elwyn, fire god from the sky, savior of our folk and people, winner of the Queen's Suitor contest. He says, gentlemen, the terms have been set. Tridents will be used, and the battle will be until first submission. What is at stake amongst you? Death Lord Lamprecht says, I offer temporary command of my armies. General Roman acknowledges. He says, he turns to you, Elwyn. He says, and what do you offer?
I offer the wins in our contests to get the Queen's Hand.
He says, the terms have been set. Let the fight begin. All right. So you hear the thumping of war drums, and you hear the cheers of the thousands of fish folk that are swimming around you, information, and basically just watching. You guys basically have a 30-foot square or 30-foot round circle to fight in, and it goes up vertically also, like a cylinder, 30 feet above you, okay, or like several hundred feet above you, but it's still the same 30-foot radius circle.
Okay.
All right. So what do you guys? So Lamprax, he snarls and he says, "Prepare to feel the pointy spikes of my trident as I thrust them within you."
You made a sex joke.
Yeah. Go for it, bro. That's what I told him.
All right. So he charges up. You see his serrated trident going, and you see his form kind of like bend over, and more armor kind of forms into place. His physiology begins to harden and change form. You can see that instead of a well-rounded battle form like he was in, he goes into a much more hardened but less dexterous form. Fear now, my berserker form, and he comes rushing at you.
When he comes rushing at me, I'm gonna cast that as a reaction, targeting me and anyone else, like just me, pretty much.
Okay. Choose up to 3 targets in range. The next attack against these targets suffers disadvantage, or the next save may be Alright. Alright, so he's gonna attack you, alright? So here comes his attack. With disadvantage. He'll probably have this as a modifier. Shit.
He dropped a 20.
He did drop a 20. Alright, so he comes rushing at you, Elwyn. What do you do?
I'm gonna nut check him.
So you kind of like reach out. You don't have any weapons in your hands right now, right?
No.
Alright. You just kind of reach out and like tap as he comes dashing by. His form is it's like heavily armored. It can't change directions very quickly, right? But he comes blasting by you, dexterously move out of the way and tap him. You see as he blasts past you, his form changes and he kind of tumbles through the water a little bit. And after spinning around, swirling around, he faces you again. And then one hand goes to his jewels, and he goes, "That was uncalled for." Oh wait, there's actually a spell. What the hell?
Yeah.
You perform a vile gesture. That creature must make a Constitution saving throw, or is affected with a painful contusion to the groin. Alright, use con save.
That's definitely a fail.
So he takes 20d12 bludgeoning damage
To the nuts.
and is stunned. So go ahead and go ahead and roll it. All right. His body kind of tumbles out of the charging position that he was in. His hand goes to his genitals, and he goes, "What have you done? You," and he kind of freezes up for a second, and you can see that the pain is just kind of radiating through his body. Your turn.
Okay. So I calmly swim up to him, and I say, as I drop, it's not concentration. I say, as you all can see, he is subdued.
Okay, he's there staring at you, and you can see hate kind of radiating through his face as he rolls another.
Take him submit, blood!
I'm gonna hold my action to do another nut check. I have 1/8 level if he saves from it. I think that the rules are, if he cannot move for longer than a few more seconds, I win.
No, you have to make him submit. Make him submit.
But he can't submit if he can't move.
Oh, that's true. I do have to make him submit. Okay, so I'm gonna cast Pepin's Choke-a-Bitch at level 4, because that's what I can cast it at.
Can you link it?
Yeah.
You attempt to choke a creature. The creature makes a Constitution saving throw. On failure, the creature begins to choke, taking 44 necrotic damage. While target is being choked, he has disadvantage on attack rolls and saving throws. Okay. So, disadvantage, or just a con saving throw. What's your DC?
34.
He's just there flailing in the air as his hands go to his neck, and he goes, ah! And you can see him starting to you're cutting off the flow of oxygen through his body. I mean, you're basically squeezing below where his gills are, so it's cutting off where the flow of oxygen in his body. Yeah.
Okay, so now he gets a save for the stun.
I don't think he can make it unless he nat 20s. Okay.
Yeah. Okay, so next turn, I'm gonna quicken. So it's gonna be 2 shocking grasps.
Okay. Yeah, they'll both hit.
This is non-lethal.
All right, so he's there, and you can see the blasts of like it's like almost like an electric eel just slapping about. His form just kind of spazzes as currents of electricity go flying through his body, and he's holding onto his neck. He's like, ah. Roll high or low. Roll a d20 and call high or low, and then roll
High.
it. Okay. He, as you're holding him there, you can see the desperation beginning to form in his eyes, and you can see his a sheen of light beginning to glow around him. The tide shard that's embedded in his chest plate begins to radiate energy, and he begins to exude this like glowing, sparkly, kind of glittery light from every cell in his body. And he's still choking.
Okay, so
Yeah,
I'm gonna
that's what's gonna save you, Glitter. Go!
I'm gonna let go of like everything. Like,
Uh-huh.
I'm not gonna do anything this turn. I'm gonna hold my action to nut check him again, just in case. But I'm gonna spread my arms out and like kind of swim away from him. Say, "Are you not entertained?"
The crowd around you
Are
is
you
cheering
not
and screaming. There's a lot of chanting and taunting going on in the crowd.
Nut check him!
I'm gonna say, "Am I not pretty in this light?"
You're pretty.
As a matter of fact, instead of holding my action, I'm gonna use my dragon powers
Okay.
to do some draconic presence.
All right. So you pull a full on Katniss Everdeen. Your wings flare out behind you, and blazing with fire, and you do like kind of twirl in the air, and people around you are all the fish folk around you are screaming and going out of their minds. Lamprex, now illuminated with glittery, sparkly light, says, "Now feel the full power of my kingly might, as the power of Votalin, its tide shard, and its greatest warrior, slays you by thrusting this trident through your chest." And he comes charging at you again.
Yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and Pepin's hex him. No, what's it called?
We're not checking him. Do it!
Curse of Ineptitude.
Oh, that's better.
One creature makes a wisdom saving throw. Bad luck. All attack rolls, skill checks, and saving throws are made with disadvantage to the target's next turn. Wisdom saving throw. Alright. This is wisdom save. So he fails, so his attack check is made with disadvantage against you.
Yeah. Holy shit, that still hits.
He dropped another 20.
He did drop another 20.
That's good.
Alright, so he comes barreling into you, and this is his full berserker form, highlighted by glitter, by the sparkliness of his tide shard.
Does he heal me?
his trident goes blasting into your core. You're full in dragon form, so it's like the clashing of light, fiery brightness from on your side, and the glittery sparkliness of his side. He comes blasting into you, and you can feel the searing pain of his trident as it strikes your torso.
Okay, so I'm
Um,
at 205. Okay.
yeah,
got
you
it.
can feel the ripping of flesh as one of the tines breaks your skin and pierces through like your gut, and it full on impales you, sticking out the back. All right. Um, he's right now. He's face to face with you. The brightness of his sparkliness, um, eh, um, like just burning one of those little star spots in your eyes. You know, like when you look at a bright light for a little while, it causes your eyes to like have the remnant, the after image in your eyes. Um, and he's staring at you, his face full of wrath and hatred, and he says, I have penetrated you.
Yeah, that hurt. But while he's looking at me and kind of grinning his teeth, I tell him, "You have spilled my blood. That has not happened in a while. Now you shall feel the pain." And I'm gonna nut check him at 8th level,
Uh-huh.
and then I'm going to quicken. Since he's like right in front of me,
Yeah, here's his save. He fails.
since he's right in front of me, I'm gonna take my 3 super Elwyn firebolts and smash him right into his face.
Okay.
Right, so this is the nut check. And then my firebolts, since he's stunned, they're at advantage. So they're normal, right? Since he's at melee
Yeah,
range.
yeah.
And, yeah.
Yeah, they all hit. Okay, you can see his armor. As the firebolt bolts slam into his body, your enlightened.
No, hold on. That was shocking grasp. Sorry.
Your
you
weight.
go.
Yeah, you have your firebolts are of another level. They were enhanced by Bafinzor, so they have threads of awakening through them. They crush into his form, and you can see his armored berserker like bone plates and these calcifications that have grown from his body begin to melt off him, and be torn away as each subsequent firebolt hits him. He shrieks in pain as he lets go of his trident, which is still like embedded in your torso, and he kind of flails backwards. The water around him superheating as each firebolt has struck his form. You can see his armor plates glowing hot and molten almost. The light of the tie chart is still glowing around him, but the light has definitely been hampered by your firepower.
It's on now, bitch.
So he's basically like flailing in front of you. You can see his form begins to shift again, and the plates of armor that were caught in fire and molten drop off, and his form becomes much sleeker, much more arrow-like.
Was that his turn? Shifting?
Yeah, yeah.
I'm gonna come at him again, since he's right in front of me.
Mm-hmm.
Some more firebolts. This time, I'm gonna quicken some more firebolts. First 3,
They all hit.
second 3.
Those all hit too. Except the one.
Oh, that was an extra 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yeah, I clicked it one more time, so the one
All right.
was an extra.
Alright, so as that happens, his body is greatly weakened. He begins to drift backwards. You can see the glaze of defeat beginning to form over his eyes as more firebolts crush into his form. His form had become much sleeker. You can tell it was almost like it was his travel form that he was beginning to a modified version of his travel form that he was beginning to shapeshift it into.
I tell him as soon as those 6 firebolts hit him, don't be a fool. Just give in.
Persuasion check with advantage. His body in a heaping mess as various pieces of his anatomy are burning off and glowing with molten heat. He kind of crumples down, the water around him boiling and steamy. He says, I yield. And the light from his tide shard kind of deactivates, and he kind of slumps over. His attendants come to him, trying to peeling away various pieces of carapace and armor, trying to free him from the heat of the super ignited firebolts that hit him. General Roman raises his own trident in the air and he says, "We have a victor. In this moment, yes, Elwyn, fire god from the sky, has claimed victory of that which Lamprax offered him. For the immediate future, a time set as 4 days, Elwyn has full command of Lamprax's armed battalions."
Thank you, General. And me, as the victor, will give you command of such forces for the time that has been stated.
He looks taken aback a little bit. He says, "Thank you, Elwyn. These forces will help us in our endeavor. You have bought us much needed time."
Now, all this foolishness is done. Let us put our minds back to the task at hand. Prince.
Okay, so General Roman, Lamprax is kind of out of it right now. Roman begins to take command of those battalions that you gave him, and he's been organizing his forces. So they start striking out into the deeper parts of the water surrounding Lumos. They're setting up defenses. They're rigging, barriers and lines and that kind of stuff to try to, like you said, slow down the advancement of the Tapatian horde. The prince
Nice.
is there. He says, "Yes?"
Let us get back to this conversation. You said the deep ones might be able to can swim against the outer currents of the void. Is that right?
"It is true. We have seen them flowing in and out, past beyond the line of safety."
Prince, this might be too much to ask, but our friend, our companion that has been accused of terrible crimes here with you, has the ability to become one of those void creatures. If I told you that I take full responsibility for his actions, if you allow my companions to bring him back to life, do you think that is something that your kingdom might accept?
You are asking us to allow the attempted assassin of our queen to go free?
So, Prince, I'm asking you to let the attempted assassin of your queen to help us save your kingdom. If you do not, there will be no queen to save.
Persuasion check.
Ooh, I don't have luckies.
He says, because of the direness of our hour, and because of the valor that you and your friends have displayed, we will entrust this to your care.
And Sub-Prince, even after you have agreed, I will put this caveat into our agreement. We shall bring him to stand trial after we have saved your kingdom.
He says, that is an acceptable arrangement. He calls out, and the other members of the council come forward, and they confirm his kind. He leads the discussion against proposing your argument, and they begin to agree one by one. As the arguments come forth, their objections kind of fall by the wayside. Sub-Prince says, "Very well. You have our leave. You may retrieve your friend's body and do what you wish."
Before we do that, everyone here, gather around.
Okie dokie.
There is a great peril before us. We shall do everything to save your people. Make sure you keep your civilians safe. I have given the general command of 2 armies, his own and Deep Throat's. But know this, once we retrieve the other shard, all 3 shards must be used in unison. Use this time, Sub-Prince, to try to bring Deep Throat to your side. Because without him, once we recover the other shard, it will all be lost as well. I did not do this to humiliate him. I did this to gain us some time. Make sure he understands that.
Sub-Prince Orcus nods his head and he says, "Even though we are," he says, "on opposite sides of the Queen's affection, I see the nobility in you yet. Yes. I will do as you ask."
Good. I turn to Deimos and to Renly. Renly, Deimos, do you think that's enough of an anal probe for him to learn this lesson? Or should we wait a little bit longer? I still need a long rest before we go.
Well, maybe we should get him up and then long rest and then go.
Sounds good.
Maybe
Let's
time to
do it.
recover. Let us
Alright.
bring him back, hopefully.
Deimos, try your best.
I can reincarnate him tomorrow.
Alright. So, what can you guys do? I don't bring people back to life.
I can reincarnate.
So you guys have one chance. One of you has a chance.
Alright,
Jivarishi is there. You go to the lab and you find her there. Adis, go ahead and roll 4 d20s.
Holy shit. 4? We only had to roll 1.
All right. So you can see the tentacles have progressed in their exploration of your body, as they are trying to find the true answers to why you would do something like what you did. As you guys approach, Jivarishi says, "Oh, my love, have you come to check in on how I am doing?"
I look behind me.
I'm like, I don't see anyone. I wonder if that octopus lady is talking to somebody else. Miss Doctor Lady that I have never met before in my life. I'm Deimos, and I'm here to bring the Adus back.
She pulls all her tentacles away from Adis. You hear a couple of them pop as the suction of being from within a tightly enclosed space. The pressure changes as they're pulled out quickly. So there's a little suction cupping sound. As she turns the tentacles around towards you, Deimos, and she says, "You are playing coy with me, my love. Allow me to remind you of my affection.
There. Whoa, what's that over there? That looks like 4 Demoses.
That point. Oh, she's definitely gonna buy this one.
One tentacle goes off in the direction.
Look
Shit.
into that story. Shut him
She's-
this time.
She spins her head around, and she looks off in that direction real quick.
Adis
She
is
says, "What?
gone.
Where?"
I took the body and I'm out. They didn't even see me coming.
All right, what are you doing with the body?
I'm running for it, and then I'm gonna, I guess, bring him to the party, and we're gonna try to bring this guy back.
Okay. This is so. What spell are you casting, and what are you doing to try to enhance your odds?
We only get one shot, right?
You get one shot. Your chances of being
Alright.
successful.
I'm gonna ask for a lot of money or valuable things from the city. Shouldn't be a problem. And I'm gonna true resurrection.
Okay.
I will, the whole time while doing it, I will make sure I have the bubble up so no radiant like stuff goes away while doing it. I will also blow an 8th and a 7th level spell to really just like push through this stuff. And I'm going to
Hold on, Deimos. Hold on. I'm gonna pee on Adis just so that
that's holy water
Yeah.
right there.
that's just so the
Holy water.
Yeah.
awesome magic can flow through him more freely.
Mhm. I mean, obviously, I'll enhance abilities. I will go super Deimos form, and I'll do a bunch of push-ups and stuff, and I will spark it, obviously, and then I will guided strike it, so I really strike home on this.
You're already
And-
foresighted, so I wish you well.
That's a +10. Then I will cast light so I can see better. I will guidance myself. Yes.
Okay.
Oh, and then I don't know if it counts, but Pepin's Subvert attack gives a target's advantage on his saving throw. We'll count that as my pee on him.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Renly, are you doing anything?
I do enhance ability on Deimos. I sing a little song for comfort and joy, and I've already foresighted him, so I'm like, you got this, bitch. Do it.
And I also put some pamphlets of Tempest around as I'm like,
Tempest, please help Deimos. For Deimos needs the help. Dear Tempest, for who always watching over us. Please guide us and strengthen us.
If I cast this at I only have a 5th. That's my highest. A Pepin's Undo. If I have that prepped and he fails,
Allows the target within range to undo one undesirable action that he or she set in motion.
so can Deimos can I undo Deimos' spell so he can try it again?
What level is this spell? Level
I'm
2
casting
spell?
it at 5th. Yeah.
also I
Fifth level?
take Adis' mask off just in case he needs mouth to mouth.
Is it
Yeah.
Velcro to his face or is it super glued?
We're gonna find out.
So Elwin, you're trying. You're gonna cast that spell and you're gonna hold on to it. All right.
Spark that sucker.
Deimos.
Sparks.
Yes.
Tempest shows up. He says, "Deimos, I heard you invoke my name yet again.
Yeah. Thanks for
Why?
coming to
Why?"
help
He
me.
kind of rubs his head and he
I
says,
believe in you, Tempest. Don't ask why, for you already know. Get your Tempest. And
Yes.
I want to
Bring this guy's back as I'm carrying around Adis' body and like doing squats with him over me.
"He says you." He pauses.
help his body.
He's like, he says, "I don't understand how you could have gotten everything so wrong." He says,
What
Oh,
are you
but-
talking?
"But okay."
Things can
Okay.
be so right.
He says, Deimos, I've never done a squat in my life.
Do it.
He says,
Do
but I will
it.
watch, and my prayers will go out for your success.
Okay.
You have my full support.
Thank you. That is all I need.
All right, Deimos. With all that you've done, and with the casting of True Resurrection, this is you have a 75% chance of success. So when you roll a d20, it's a d6 or higher is success, a d1 through 5, or a 1 through 5 is a failure. All right?
Say, roll d20
Roll d20, no modifiers.
and no modifiers. You did say that I could add that +4, right?
No, there's no modifiers.
Oh, what about the spark? I'm gonna roll a spark. That's a spark, okay. So 1 to 4.
Suck my dick.
All
I'm the best. I'm Deimos.
right. You're channeling all this power. You can see Tempest there. His arms crossed as he's watching you. There is, to your eye, Deimos, and to no one else's, you see a slight shimmer of golden radiant light, just like burning off of his shoulders.
Knew it. You can't trick me, Tempest. I knew it all along.
Okay.
I'll keep it to myself though.
With all the focused attention that that Renly and Elwyn have put on you, and all the casting and preparation you've done, you put your hands on Adis's body, and the power surges through you. You can feel his anatomy beginning to knit itself together. The multiple puncture wounds from General Roman's trident begin to pull themselves in. You're re-knitting and reforming the rotted and decapitated flesh that was torn away from by the disintegrate spells. Fire bolts of fire and electricity had been flowing through his body as various spellcasters had attacked him. Arrow wounds, harpoon wounds. You're knitting together muscle and bone, reforming veins and capillaries and arteries, reconnecting nerve pathways, and then finally piecing together the skin above them. In that moment, as you look into the reality beyond what is visible and apparent, you grab onto the flow of the nature of things, and you pull Adis's soul back into his physical body, into the remade and healed physical body of it.
Get back here, so shove that shit back in you.
Adis, you go from a place of darkness, a haunting familiarity, as your mind had begun to drift off to a place that you were familiar with, but you knew that your return there would be one much, much worse than the 2 centuries that you had spent previous. You hear Deimos' voice, and you feel his hands wrap around you, and with a shock and a blast of light, you can feel air traveling through your lungs again, and you are resurrected.
Deimos, why are you bench pressing me?
I'm not. I'm doing squats with you. Oh, wait, you're right. I am bench pressing you. Good go, Adus.
Yeah, your mask is off, but you do have an air bubble around your head. The spells that they had prepared it so you can breathe air.
Adus,
What does your face look like, Adis?
Let's see here. How old am I?
Like
Freddy
Paula
Krueger.
Dean's.
Yeah, you're like 200 and something years old.
I'm roughly like 25 years. Well, no, I am actually really old in material plane terms. I mean, like a normal humanoid face, blonde hair, blue eyes. Well, one blue eye, since, and I have that big scar, like the whole. Which eye was that?
I think it was your right eye got taken away from you.
Oh, that healed.
Left eye.
That
Left eye.
true resurrection bitch. That's
Oh, that's right, you have your eye
that's
back.
Edis,
Everything's back.
I fixed you. Also, you're still a virgin. Oh, I couldn't fix that one.
He's a wizard.
Got him. You're an arch-wizard now, my friend.
Your virginity is returned.
It was never going to begin with. No extra work on my part. Take that, you fairy lady. He's got his eye back.
I start humping the air.
Okay. You see Tempest kind of like shake his head and he turns around and like walks away.
Thank you, Tempest.
That's what it was, an air hump for the Deimos gift.
How was it?
Humping the air.
Adis, you never understand. You are mind controlled. Someone tried to make you slice the queen's hand off or something. It was insane.
Is anybody but them around?
No, they pulled you off away from the information sent from Javrishi's headquarters. So it's just the three of you, the four of you now.
There it is. There it is.
Oh my god, that's it. That is it. Oh god.
Wait. Did you put it in?
That's,
Oh,
That's the
jeez.
gift. That's the gift. That's Deimos.
That's
Yep.
Deimos.
It is so Deimos right now.
Wait, is that guy wearing a diaper?
That is Deimos. He's wearing tidy whities, and jeez.
It is Deimos. Oh my god.
Mission accomplished.
You made it.
That's inspiration right there. Oh my
Yes.
god, that's
Freaking
horrifying.
amazing.
So horrifying.
But Adus, we need you to turn into one of those big fishy thingies, because we're going into the maw.
Why?
Tight chart.
And I should care why.
Because we're gonna ride on you.
Dude, he just brought you back to life. You have no idea.
You were mind controlled.
No, it wasn't.
Are you
No.
like saying this shit out loud?
I think
It's
you
just
were.
us.
Yeah, are you saying this shit out loud?
Yeah.
I knew it. Bro, you gotta, first of all, we gotta have a talk. You gotta quit that shit. Number two, you're the only one that can turn into those fishes that can swim under there. If not, I would have left you dead.
You ruined the party!
The queen's crimes are unforgivable, and she's lucky I didn't kill her outright.
I'm so confused right now.
Hey, can I borrow your scroll real quick?
No.
I have his bag here.
Hey, Renly, can you turn into one of those things?
I can try it tomorrow. I'm out of like high level
What
spell
scroll were you
slots.
talking about? Or did you want the dagger?
No, I was talking about your scroll that gave you all your cool shit. Polymorph.
All right, I'm gonna
Oh, it's not
let
my scroll that does that, it's a boon.
Yeah, it's Bavindor's boon.
I'm gonna lighten the mood, and I'm gonna put Adis' mask on and walk around, and be like,
Look at me, everyone. I'm Adis.
and then like I'll like hunch over and walk on all fours,
I'm Adis in dragon form.
and then I don't know. I don't know. Lighten the mood.
Oh god.
Roll a performance check.
It'd be really bad.
I believe in you.
You are foresighted, damn it.
Oh, not bad.
Shit. I am Adus.
Hey,
That
this-
is actually accurate.
When did you get so buff?
That's right. When I was dead or mind controlled, the guy worked out a lot. What does I turn into a different Adis form? Does Adis have any-
What he would have turned into?
No, name anything, I can do it. Because I'm Adis and I'm a wizard.
I'll turn him into a planetar.
I will turn into a planetar.
So be like, look at me, I'm a goody two-shoe planetar. You can't hide in me. You guys, it's me, Deimos.
I take the mask off.
You guys don't even know. I fucking had you all fooled.
There's no mask. The
The
mask got-
Oh, Deimos.
Dude, I shocked you all. Alright, enough with that. Too many mind fucks with you guys right now. I don't want to ruin your day.
Alright,
Speaking
guys.
of mind fucks,
Hold on, Adis.
Hmm.
Deimos, Renly. Tell Adis what the plan is. I will watch to see if there's anyone here and keep them from listening in case shit happens.
All right, we tell him the whole plan.
Okay.
But I also tell him about the importances we were told of calf exercises that are very easily missed.
And I poke my head back in and tell him, make sure you tell him about how his anus was probed repeatedly.
Oh, so it is.
How graphic do you want the detail if
So
I
he's-
saw it
so-
firsthand?
You're
Technically, he's not a virgin anymore.
technically speaking, you shouldn't eat solid foods for about a week now. But after that, things should go back to normal.
I pop my head back in. How do you know that, Deimos?
Deimos reverts back into a bear form of Adis.
I say, I'm a bear. I do not see a Deimos.
Rawr.
Roar.
Okay.
I tell you what. I will take you all on one condition. Elwyn, fire god of the sky.
The condition that we brought you back to life, you son of a bitch.
No, you have to force the queen to surrender her shard to someone more worthy.
We can have a give it to Gally. Okay, let's keep moving.
We will work on it.
No. You will swear it.
Alright, do we have to go down under and get ourselves a different thing to ride on? I don't
That's
need
still
more.
an option.
Do you want me to shape change into one of those things? I'll do it in the morning after we've
Alright.
had the rest.
Do that
I
as a
mean, these
backup.
people.
Make it a lot easier.
Yeah, that's not happening. These
Okay,
people
shape
have,
change tomorrow.
These people have their queen. She be incompetent or not. It is their queen, and that is
She
their
also
choice.
tried to mindfuck all of you.
No, she did not.
Yes, she did.
Never did she try to mindfuck me.
Oh, she did.
No.
And Tempest, too. And she mindfucks her people on a daily basis. Her people, hunt.
Don't all rulers do that?
Not
What,
with
who
a,
are you? Who are you to say?
Not with an artifact gifted by a god.
I am
That was
so
meant to be used to
confused.
defend their people, not subjugate them for stupid parties.
Who are you to say that this is not what her people want? Our priority right now is to save those people.
Why?
And you putting a caveat like that into our plan just makes me regret bringing you back to life. So will you help us or not?
I'll think about it.
So
Well,
it's been a good 4 hours. So you guys are running out of time as far as when the army gets here, the patient army.
Well, aren't you taking a long rest?
I assume we had to. We've run out of spell slots.
You haven't yet, but if you have to again, so there'll be another 8 hours.
Yeah, because I have no spell slots anyway.
Okay. So
And as an aside, could I even turn into one of those?
take its form and
We'll try
Yeah.
it.
Because
You
I
could
didn't
tr-
learn its form when it died, so...
you could definitely try. You captured its body, right?
Yeah.
So you still have it you have access to its body. You could try to capture it.
Okay.
I'll learn how to do it too, just to make it easier.
Me too. We all turn into one.
All right.
Just
So-
tell me what to roll.
Actually, technically, I could turn two of us into one if I can get its form.
The sheer exhaustion of the day's activities has come upon you, and you guys can feel the strain of taxing yourselves. So you
Sorry. It's
Yes?
me. Wait. I forgot I had the stupid thing. Okay, yeah, I'm going to do that. I shove them into those little pod things. I pod people them for, and then I'm like, go, and I'm going to nap for 8 hours. Wake me up once we're there. So I do that to them for 1 hour, and then I go take an 8-hour nap.
Okay. So you cast that how many times? You have to cast 3 of them.
Yeah, I'll do it. I'll do 3 of them. So I'm
What
burning
is
off my
that?
spell slots. It's the
We get
thing
a
for that
long
long
It's a
rest.
1 hour. It's a 1 hour long rest.
I have no spell slots over the 5th level, so
Yeah,
there
but
we
you
go.
can't do it to yourself.
No, that's why I have to actually do a long rest. Everyone else can just like carry me like a sack of potatoes.
I can do it to you, Renly.
That sounded wrong.
It was meant to be. Never mind.
Okay, so Renly casts Chrysalis on all of you guys, and you can feel the crystals kind of like bringing you and lulling you off to sleep, and you can feel the tensions and the arguments and all the disagreements and stress from what happened fade into the darkness as you're taken away by Renly's spell. And in the course of 1 hour, you can feel your minds and your bodies and your spirits renewed. You guys emerge from the chrysalis fully long rested. Renly is napping on the ground.
Yes.
I put her in the tidy whities.
I don't wake up. I'm like sleeping off all the tequila.
Yes.
Also, though, tidy whities are not a good look on me.
Well, you're in the tidy whities, so
I
You're
could
like a
also
side
put. I
piece.
could also put you in.
You're like a baby kangaroo.
Oh, okay, that works better. Yeah. You can carry me around now. That's fine.
All right, Adis, are you gonna try to learn the form?
Are we somewhere where it popping out ain't gonna cause a commotion? Because it's pretty big.
Yeah, it doesn't take much to get there. So you guys kind of navigate to the edges of the city. A little bit of time goes by, but you manage to get there. You have
And
Lamprey.
while we're traveling through the city, I'll turn into a merfolk.
Okay, and Lamprey she guides you around. She's in guide form. She's able to mostly take you, and she can intuit directions. So she leads you off to the outskirts of the city, and she can point you to where you need to go out in the deep waters also.
I visit Gelly before we go and tell her to stay safe.
Okay.
And tell her, Gelly, next time we meet, your kingdom shall be safe. And then we can go to the surface and have our fun in the sand.
She smiles.
Wait, hold on. How's that song go? Hold on. Bermuda, Jamaica.
Oh, jeez.
Girl, I wanna take it. I sing her that song.
Oh my god.
Yeah. Gelly smiles and she says, Gelly, is sick of swimming. Gelly is ready to stand.
Have you heard of the Little Mermaid?
What? No.
Then you will. I'm gonna turn you into a land creature if it's the death of me, and you will be my Eloise in the lands of water.
I could do it now if you want, Owen.
Chill.
She will drown.
I found a way to do it, Gelly. Like I promised I would.
Gelly says, Gelly has left open pathways along tendrils, connecting to Gelly's cousins, and can bring you all the way to the edge of the line of safety.
Gelly, I dream of exploring your open passageways. And
Gelly has 5.
wow. Okay. It's gonna be
think,
fun.
That one's gonna
But-
need an upgrade.
Elwyn never leads on an upgrade. Gelly, we shall travel through your pathways. A path that I shall travel alone. in
No,
the
that was the
surface.
other one, Brinley.
No, she's under the drinking age.
Yeah, that's what I remember.
She's like 19, 20. Barely legal.
Just like I like them.
Jesus.
You are the worst.
God.
The
Oh,
worst.
You
jeez.
were terrible.
I'm
Jeez.
sorry.
This video is gonna get struck from YouTube.
Oh, fuck. Alright. Alright,
Owen,
Yeah, what are you
Can
doing?
you have Gilly tell someone, because I won't be able to turn this corpse back into a dagger, so it's just gonna be floating outside the city.
Oh yeah, Gelly. We must desecrate your glorious lands with the carcass that I have slain right before I met you. Can you tell your people not to be afraid? And can you use that to bolster the the morale of your people, showing what Elwyn, the fire god of the sky, and his disciples are able to do to these deep creatures?
Wait, Elwyn, hold on. I come over to Elwyn and I whisper in his ear. It's like, hey, you know what? We could totally make this like she killed it. That it found the
Gelly.
city and she killed it. That would be a big morale boost.
Oh, I since the first word that you said, I'm like, I wink at you, bro. Like, like really obviously. And I said, Gelly, on second thoughts, let us unite your people with a white fib. Would you let them know that these creatures... Nah, dude, I don't think that... I like, stop. I'm like, hold on, Gelly. Give me a sec. Bro,
Gelly's just
if
there
we-
bobbing up and down. She's floating and she's looking at you.
dude,
Big wide eyes, just
thinking
looking
about
at you.
this, bro. If we tell them that Gelly killed this thing, then they're gonna expect her to, like, defend the city, and I kind of want to have my girl...
That's true. That's true.
yeah.
I got you.
Alright, hold on. Alright. Gelly! Turn back to Gelly. Tell these creatures...
Yes.
that we are able to desecrate the shit out of these deep ones, and that we will save you. Use this as a morale booster, and tell them that Elwyn, the fire god from the sky, and now a companion of Gelly from the sea, that we will save your people. And later on, you and I are gonna have some fun in the sun.
She says, Gelly will communicate to city, and you can see flashes of light just streaming along behind her, along invisible tendrils, rejoining with the network of information in the city, flashing little streaks of light flying everywhere.
Hold on. Gelly, I just thought of something.
Yes?
Surrounding kingdoms that must have been affected by this surge of shit army that's coming towards us. Tell everyone around this facility, all the other kingdoms, all your network, to gather at a place that the general says. That way the defenses can be mounted at a higher level, and that everyone in the undersea kingdom can learn to live together. Can you do that for me, Gelly?
Gelly says, Gelly does not have authority. Gelly can just send message.
Gelly, I give you authority. I now grant you the authority to do that.
She's a little bit timid, but she says, Gelly will send message. Gelly will try.
Hold on. Let me get you the authority. I go to the general to get her the authority. And
Okay.
give him the idea that I just had.
Alright. He says, Night Renly.
Night.
I'll tell you if we ever figure out a time for tomorrow.
Google. Hi.
General Roman says, Agreed. I will defer to your judgment, divinity.
Yes, you will. Absolutely. So Gelly has authority now.
Yeah.
She is my voice.
Okay. So she begins to send out messages, not just to the city, but starts to join in with the communication network. It's not just her. There's dozens and dozens of her species that maintain this communication network. But she starts to transmit these signals along the lines and pathways, and they start to flicker out all across the depths of the ocean. Gilly says, It is done.
Geloise, that is your new name. I thank you. And I hope to see you again, but we must be off.
Gelly kind of like slowly shakes her head and she says, Gelly has much more communicating to do. She points out and she touches a single tendril. She says, This is line that will bring you to Maw of the Void.
I grab that line. I look at my companions, gather
Hold
them
on.
close.
Hold on.
I'm like,
Hold
hold on, Gelly.
I'll pull out the dagger and dispel it and try to learn the form.
The thing, as you dispel the dagger, it shifts into this massive hulking form, coated in this hideous armor, tentacles and multiple eyes floating, and you can see it. There's no more life in it, but its form is hideous and powerful.
The Deimos Sea Monster dagger.
All right. So Adis, you're rolling an Arcana check. It's not a boss level monster, so the AC is lower. We'll call this a. I mean, the DC is lower. We'll call this a DC 17 for our arcane check.
Don't you have like a plus
Plus
27?
I have a plus 18, so as long as I don't roll a 1.
Oh, jeez. All right, you learned the form.
Alright, we're good to go.
I grab the tendril and cast my teleport.
Okay, you guys go flashing along the surface of this teleport network, of this information network, and you guys arrive. We're in a place where the currents of the water are greatly increased. You can feel the suction. You can feel the swirling and the hatred of this whirlpool of the Maw of the Void, even as far away as you are. And you're still, leagues and leagues, hundreds of leagues away from the center of the Maw. You're right at the very brink of the edge of safety, knowing that you guys yourselves are having trouble to maintaining your stability.
Is this thing big enough we only need one of it, or should we?
Yeah,
have
they're
two?
massive. They're huge.
Alright, I'll turn into one.
Okay. So you shapeshift into a megalith.
I'll grab onto its penis because that's like the safest zone.
It's retracted in, so you can't get a hold of it.
Elwyn, you find many appendages that are you're not sure which one is which, but you find at least 4 that you think might serve as its as its penis. So you just grab one of them.
You just don't rub me the right way.
I crawl inside of its vagina.
You win. I'm in your tidy whities. I'm like, this is the penis. He's like, nope, this is the vagina.
All right.
We're gonna be like little tauntauns.
All right. So you guys are going off in. Okay. In this form, Adis, you can navigate closer to the Maw of the Void. You can't go to its center at all, but you can go far closer than any of the other denizens of the underwater kingdoms can. So for you, the line of safety looks more like this.
Okay. Well, I'll start heading toward wherever they said we needed to go.
All right.
How
These
fast
things
does this thing go?
underwater, I'm using. You're basically harnessing the speed of the current, so you're able to move quite a bit faster than you normally would be able to. This form, as you're inhabiting it, it's a dark, it's a tortured soul. You realize it's not one that you can. You'll have trouble maintaining it for long periods of time, right? Just because of the depth of the darkness that its physical form carries.
Right.
But you know that for now, for the time being, you can maintain it. So you guys coast along the waters, and minutes and hours go by. You guys are basically slingshotting around the Maw of the Void like this. You guys ever see like Star Trek 4, the original Star Trek?
Physics.
Yeah, physics,
It's
where
science.
they slingshot around the sun, using the sun's gravity to slingshot around it. That's kind of what you're doing around the whirlpool. As you're passing through these waters, you look. I mean, the rest of you guys, you're hanging very close to the form. And one of you might even be inside the megalith's form, but you're seeing that these passing by waters at a very fast speed, but you can see complete devastation. It's almost like even underneath the water, underwater mountain ranges have been leveled. If there was any surviving or any civilization, any kind of structure or anything like that, it's been long since destroyed. Massive coral reefs, obliterated. Underwater mountain ranges leveled. Trenches filled in as everything is being the nature of this plane itself being sucked into the core of the maw. Edis, you get as close as you can to your new line of safety, and your form, powerful and dexterous in the water, just flits through, carrying itself along the currents. But you know that if you were to go closer to the center of the maw, even this form would be destroyed. Hours go by, and you break off, struggling and powering as hard as you can. Go ahead and make an athletics check, Adis, in your... Actually, let me give you the stat sheet for this thing. So go ahead and make an athletics check for it to see as you begin to try to break out of the circular current.
It literally has no athletics.
Yeah, but so it's just a strength check. Oh, it would be strength. So
Strength. Right. My bad.
so that'd be a +5, not a -1. So you'd be a 19.
Yeah.
Its form, you can feel its body beginning to shift. Tentacles begin to flail, but also its kind of amorphous body hardens itself along a ridge and creating itself like a sail or a rudder that you turn and break against the current. As the tendrils flail and propel yourself forward with all your might, you break yourself out of the current and begin to move off in the direction that Lamprey, who's with you, is silently directing you in.
Wait, which one's Lamprey?
The sister, the one that travels with Deimos, she's in guide form.
The one that Deimos is marrying?
The other one.
The young one. This is Lamprey.
Oh, the minor.
Yeah.
Ah, gotcha. Alrighty. So yeah,
Okay.
we had the direction she's guiding us.
Okay. And as you guys break out of the circular current of the Maw of the Void, you find yourself in a different part of the ocean, a much darker part of the ocean.
Like
And-
poop darker, like, or just like.
Yeah,
Everything's darker.
I mean, the current is still tempestuous. It is still violent and ripping. But you can see as you settle down, as you've pulled away from the void, from the maw, you see remnants and scars in the surface of the ground below you, of the seafloor. Evidence of civilization, or at one time would have been a civilization. A vast and sprawling empire now extinguished. You guys keep traveling. Leagues go by as you venture along these pathways. You're beginning now to go further out. You see more megaliths floating in the water, passing you by. And occasionally one will come near you, Adis, and you can feel a humming of psychic energy just passing through you, messages and greetings that you understand. You're able to respond in kind, or at least ignore most of their content, and well enough to avoid suspicion.
Okay.
Okay. But some time goes by, and you guys continue swimming, and you can see again, like I said, this is a sprawling empire. Most of it has been flattened and crumbled into the dust of the ground of the seafloor. But eventually, you look and you can see in front of you a large spire or a large structure. And you guys get closer, you can tell that it was once something massive, but it's being eroded away quickly. But there is something that's holding it together, a growth attaching to various of the spires, slender cylindrical structures jutting up into the sky, but around them there's this unnatural growth, this dark black viscous stuff that's kind of like holding these structures together, resisting the power of the current, right, keeping them intact, whereas everything else in the area has been completely flattened. Right? Lamprey says to you, yes, that is she. That is Anwen, once the greatest of the undersea kingdoms, and now, as you see, reduced to dust and darkness.
That looks like arms holding up that spire in front. It's pretty fucking awesome.
And then if you go down the arms just a little bit, the two little red lights look like eyes.
Yeah. Is that a whale?
Well, it's a megalith. You see a few more megaliths floating around, but you can see them maintaining a healthy distance from this center thing. None of them go closer to it. As you guys get to there's basically a herd of megaliths floating, circling around this thing, but they don't dare go closer than a certain distance. Adis, you're able to determine this. You guys look into the water, and inside this perimeter, you occasionally see the corpse of a megalith on the ground. It's almost like these megaliths aren't attacking this place, but they're also trying to keep whatever it is there contained within.
Ew.
I'll wait till the herd gets to the... I'll kind of do the opposite rotation that they're doing till they're on the opposite side of it so we can't see each other.
Okay.
How's the current here?
It's still pretty violent. Megaliths are easily able to maneuver these waters. If you were to shift into any other form, you'd probably begin to be ripped away.
Hey, what's the jellyfish's name?
Gelly, she's not here with you.
No, the one that's with us.
Lamprey.
Whatever she is. Lamprey. Let's see here. I ask her if she has any way to look inside there, communicate inside there, because just as soon not get obliterated again when we approach.
She shakes her head. She says, "No, Lamprey can only point the way."
Now, when you're up,
I'm gonna poke my head out from the whale's vagina.
Okay.
I'm gonna say, "Are we there yet?"
Yeah, except for whatever's inside that place seems to be like obliterating these creatures. So if we swim up there, we're just gonna all get killed too.
All right, bro. I gotcha. So swim like right up to the edge of the place, like
Mm-hmm.
where you can't swim more,
I'll swim up
and
to
then
like where they were patrolling
Yeah.
yeah,
that perimeter.
and then what I can do is, do you sense like there's a diameter, like if there's an air bubble or anything around this place that maybe if we're not in your form that we won't get sucked into the thing?
No, no, look, there's dead of these creatures all over the place. Something in there is killing them if they get too close.
Right, bro. So what I'm saying is, if is there a perimeter that's surrounding this place that these, like, is there a sphere? Like, is there like
There is no
I-
sphere. There's no sphere.
Can I detect
Uh,
any magic of any kind pulsating out from this place?
Um, the whole thing is intensely unnatural. Adis, go ahead and roll a religion check. You have no idea what the hell's going on.
dude, I wanted to use this spell to like make my dick bigger at some point, but I could cast the wish to transport us into the structure.
Hmm.
Let's see what else could work.
Do I feel any tendrils?
No, there are no tendrils here.
Are there any of these creatures getting absent-mindedly closer to it?
You're looking around to see.
Yeah.
So the herd, I mean, the megaliths are not stupid. You can tell that the ones that are strewn along the ground were the results of careful and planned probing attacks. So they're, unless they plan to do it, they're not going to get within range.
Are any of the corpses outside of the perimeter they're patrolling, like had floated out and landed on the ground?
Sure. Yeah.
Let's swim down to one and do these things, and I'll give Elwin a tentacle leash and put him down next to it so he can like examine it and see what kind of wounds killed it.
Okay.
Bro, I go all bones on it.
So you see a megalith corpse on the ground. All right. And it is seared. It is burned. Huge gaping portions of its anatomy just completely incinerated.
Well, I'm in this tentacle that he pushes me forward towards this monster so I can inspect it.
Yep.
What's the current like?
Oh,
Do you think
it's
if I would let go, I'm done?
yeah,
Skis?
yeah. You'd be ripped away. The even the sea folk would not be able to swim freely here. You're within their
Okay.
safe line. The only reason you
So-
guys are able to be stable is because Adis is in megalith form.
Okay, so once he brings me back, I'm gonna fucking Deimos tether myself. Just in case, brother.
Okay.
I got my lightning ball of
Oh.
non-movement, but
Elwin, I have an idea. Since you have the Deimos tether, so I can tell which way we can tell which way the current's flowing, right?
Yeah.
I want
I
to.
like where this is going.
I
Yes.
want to slowly move us around the city till the current is going from our backs toward the city, and I'm gonna have Elwin toss Deimos out and see if he'll fly toward the city.
I jump out. Brr.
Okay.
Vigorously swim towards the area I think I need to go.
You're going.
Because he has
You're
the
just going.
Deimos tether, so he can bring him back if something goes wrong. So we're basically trying to use the current to basically torpedo him toward the city.
Yeah, so we're using Deimos, and then the current's gonna take him to the structure, and we're gonna use him like an anchor, and then
Okay.
Deimos, you can pull me,
Mhm.
and then fuck everyone else. I mean, no, and then we'll
And
figure
then-
out how to
then
get
you-
everyone here.
Then you guys can tell them not to, blow up the megalith that's gonna swim the other three of us in.
Alright, let's do it. I already jumped out. What's happening?
All right, so you guys are timing it so that
Wouldn't be a
Deimos.
physics check. See if we like calculate correctly.
Yeah, Adis, make an intelligence check.
Yeah, use the
Quadruple
flux
doctrine.
capacitor.
Or standard rotary girders.
Okay.
Just to make sure, I'll spark it. So, 75.
That seems like a good number.
I think it might get you.
You might have gotten that.
Okay.
I tell Deimos to get situated inside, and I'll eject him out like a torpedo.
You squirt him out.
I bored the launching tube.
So, Deimos, you're inside. You're inside the megalith, right? And according to his intelligence check, at the exact proper timing, you can feel him do a megalith kegel, and just like pop you out, just like torpedo you out.
Vaginal torpedo.
Yeah, like bombs away, kind of.
Queef
And
him out.
you blast out. Oh
Unstoppable.
shit.
No,
Already lubed
This was
up.
this was an early. Never mind.
You blast out at pretty great velocity, and you get ripped away into the current, and you're flying, blazing through the air. And as you do, you quickly pass through the line of megalith safety, and you're blazing over megalith corpses.
So dick megaliths.
You can see one of the structures, some of the growth around one of the structures shake free as flaps of it come forth, and some of these tendrils and these tentacles kind of break loose, and this creature just pulls itself away from the overall structure itself. So if you guys are here, and Deimos is like here, right? And he's blazing forward in this direction along with the current. Basically, this whole section here breaks away from these spires, and you can tell that it was a creature the entire time, just hidden there amongst the growth. There's still a ton of growth around the area, but this creature was there was like camouflaged and disguised amongst it. Okay, this is what it looks like. As you
Oh,
Sorry about that.
Is that Cthulhu?
That
As
looks
you
like that looks like a half dragon, undead lich Cthulhu.
Okay, Deimos, as you go flying through, you're counting on your great speed to carry you along the way. This thing is going to, it focuses on you, and you can see its multiple eyes begin to take light, and as you get closer to it, intense heat is radiating off of its body, and indeed the ocean around it is boiling. This
I
thing.
assure it, I am super cool and not a megalith. I get the sign of holiness.
Do I see this thing break off and
Yeah, for
focus
sure.
on Deimos?
Yeah.
I see. Mr. Thing. Or Mrs. Thing. I'm Deimos. And we're here. And we need your help.
As I'm shooting.
After Deimos says that, I tether him.
Wait, you're bringing him to you, or you're going to him?
Yeah, I'm bringing him to us.
You're pulling him back through the water,
Mm-hmm.
back towards Adis's vagina.
God damn. Yes, I would.
He's yanking the tampon back in.
Okay, Deimos, you feel the pull. Are you going back with it?
I think I have to.
Okay, you go
On
zipping
the way
back,
I'm
and
just like,
I'm like, Mister, we are your friends.
as you pull, as you get yanked backwards, you can see a scorching beam of heat and actual fire blaze out from one of these things' eyes, and it courses through the spot that you were that you would have been in just a second ago.
What an asshole.
Okay, and you get sucked back
Does it-
over to the megalith.
Does it look demonic?
Not demonic.
Primordial demon.
Can I roll any kind of check to see if I
Devil.
know what it is?
Yeah, you rolled a natural one.
Oh, that's what that. Yeah, but that was what it was camouflaged.
Can I see if I can think what it is? I got it. Yes. What is it?
Wait, you don't have foresight
Demos-
anymore. You guys took a long. Oh no, it was a 1 hour long rest. Never mind. You're
Yeah,
fine.
yeah. And Deimos studied the things with tendrils that he doesn't like, so he knows the Tendros mythos very well.
Okay. Okay.
It's like, fuck your 20.
Take that, you tendrily Cthulhu piece of shit. I know exactly what you are.
All right. This
Hey.
thing is from the depths of hell.
Ah, fuck.
Is it
Beator
Is it
itself.
Pepin?
No, it's not Pepin. Okay. And as you disappear, Deimos, you can see it kind of gaze around slowly, and it checks around like a full 360 degrees. It checks around and notices no other creatures, no megaliths in the area, and then it wraps itself back around the spire and rejoins itself in its hiding.
Are
Wait.
the megaliths demonic? Like, are they demons?
Yes, they are.
Interesting.
So wait, it's one a demon and one's a devil. Is that what it is?
Yes.
Interesting. How many megaliths did you say there were?
A
In the
whole
herd?
herd of them. On the order of 40 or 50.
Oh, and you thinking what I'm thinking?
We can paint a horse on Deimos and send him out again, see if it can fool that thing thinking it's the devil?
No. That thing's been killing the megaliths. They may have a bone to pick with it. Perhaps we could join them in helping us destroy it.
Can you use your vagina to, like, send out a mating call?
No, that's only for launching demos. That's a pleasure exclusive for him.
Very good.
Yes, I can communicate with him.
Or we can kill them all and have this thing think we're friends.
Yeah.
You know what? Try to talk with them first. See what happens.
Is there any of the
Well-
megaliths that are separated from the herd that are alive that are maybe, not 40 on 4?
Yeah. You're gonna track down a straggler.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not too hard to find one.
So many think of Steve Irwin like, ooh, look at the straggler. He's gonna get.
I'll totally communicate with it and be like, hey, new to, based on the way they have communicated with me, I'll communicate in that same fashion, like
Okay.
in that same kind of demeanor,
Mhm.
and basically be like, hey, so I'm new to this particular part of the ocean. What's the deal with this fuckhead over here shooting our peeps? Are we supposed to be on the same side? Or do we need to take this fucker down a notch?
Okay. All right. So that's the essence of what you communicate. Megaliths are basically corrupted aboleths. They are a deeply intellectual species. Their concepts are way more than words. They communicate in thought patterns. They can communicate in 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 logical sequences. So translating what you just said along megalith lines, one of them, the straggler you see floating along, responds to you, saying, "This is question not. question not the role or the purpose here. 'Tis beyond us. We follow only what we have been commanded to. You know the penalty of questioning. We, the Deep Ones, have been ordered to keep the creature within here contained. And this creature's guardian holds us at bay. But as long as we stand firm here, the creature will not emerge.
Alrighty. I will convey acknowledgement.
Okay.
And then since this thing has telepathy, I'm gonna tell Elwyn. So yeah, apparently there's somebody inside there, and that big, gigantic tentacle dude is its guardian. So this isn't a conflict of invading forces. That's somebody's pet.
And the creature's forms that you're taking on. I assume you tell me like what they're there
Yeah,
for.
yeah. They're here to keep whoever's in there, whoever's pet that is. They're here to keep it in there. I'm guessing, if I were going to throw out a wild guess, my guess would be that it's whoever has the shard.
Is there any way that you can convey the Deep Ones to lure their guardian out enough so we can get in?
Probably not. They have orders just to stay out of its way, or out of its range, and just keep the person in there. So convincing them to attack it, since it's not an inner army conflict, would probably be futile. Questioning orders, apparently, to them is kind of a big no-no.
Well, then why are there some dead ones on the ground? If questioning orders?
Because apparently, before they got those orders to just patrol around and keep it from leaving, they had tried to get to the person, but when they suffered too many losses, they were ordered to just basically prevent it from leaving, since they couldn't kill it.
Hear me out. What if they get new orders?
That would have been a good idea before I talked to it. But I'm not sure how we're going to pull that one off now.
Just tell that you were testing it to see if it was following the old orders and give it new orders.
But I don't even know who the orders come from.
Bro, wing it.
Dude, it's literally 43 against 4. Wait a minute. I have a great idea. You just gave me a great idea, Elwyn. How about we piss these fuckers off and then charge the city?
Is that what you want to do?
Well, I'm asking Elwyn.
That's a good idea.
Well, I mean, I suppose if your idea fails, we could just run for the city, because hopefully they won't chase us. But if they do, then maybe Big Guy will fuck with them and not with us.
That's what I was thinking. Have a way to use that to our advantage.
Okay. So how are you guys gonna do it?
I don't know how you want to do it, Elwyn. I could patch you in telepathically and let you do the talking. Because it's not like speech talking.
What do you think, Deimos?
He must have maybe gone potty or something like that.
He's comfy in the JJ.
Hold on, though. I am gonna go to the bathroom. I'll be right back.
Okay. So this is an interesting situation. So you can You're gonna try to gain their attention and rush in and use them as distractions, basically, while you guys get into the city.
Well, they should be able to hurt this thing, right? A little bit.
You guys are gonna
Well,
have to try something.
I think Elwin's plan was to first try to convince the megaliths to just all out attack it, and if that fails and they try to attack us, then we just rush the city and hope they don't follow us. But if they do, then they would be a distraction still. I think that's where Elwin was going with that.
All right, you guys can try whatever you want to try.
I mean, we already know the launch point for flying toward the city. The unfortunate part is that it sends us straight at it. So, I mean, we might be able to augment it a little bit, but I didn't think about that.
Hmm.
Well, there's a ground. Could always go underground.
That's kind of what I was thinking as a backup.
Yeah, I mean, the currents aren't gonna mean shit if we're underground. As long as we go deep enough, at least. Here at the surface, they probably cause a lot of seismic activity. The megalith, unfortunately, can't burrow, so we would
Correct.
just
We could land as we start a burrowing
just
process.
think of,
Bros, you get the best ideas while you're urinating. I just had an idea.
okay, what's up?
I'm gonna attack it from within the vagina cocoon, and it should come after us, right?
Say what?
But I'll attack it from within your vagina when we're like close to the herd. So like when it attacks us, like after we aggressed it, it should like break off from the thing and attack us, and we can use the herd to like attack it as a whole, and we might use that to slip by and go to the main structure. Yeah?
Do you think you got the range to hit it from here?
Hell yeah.
How far away are we? Midas?
From the center of the city.
No, from the Cthulhu
From the creature
Lich.
that like
The Cthulhu Fiend Lich Devil.
yeah.
We'll call it a quarter of a mile.
Cake, bro. I got this.
Well, shoot it then. So I'll maneuver us so that we'll be slightly outside of, so that the herd will pass between us and it. So when Elwin fires his shot, it'll look like it came from the herd.
Okay. All right. So it just takes a matter of timing because the herd moves in fairly predictable patterns.
So yeah, we'll wait for that. Sound good, Elwin?
Oh yeah.
All right. A little bit of time goes by. It doesn't take much though. We're talking, a good 20 minutes, and the herd begins to cycle back around. So what do you do?
I poke my head out of our whale's vagina with my dragon staff, and I unleash the dragon's fury and the dragon's gaze and frozen tyrant.
Okay. And what are you blasting?
Because we saw the creature like leave the building and go
Yes.
after Deimos,
Yes.
so that's the part of the thing I'm targeting.
All right. So you're targeting it, right?
Yep.
Yeah. Roll damage.
Hell yeah, boy. Take that, motherfucker. And that.
You hear a shuddering roar as this massive creature breaks off from the side of this ancient city. You can see its wings tattered, Elwyn, where your lightning and your fire struck it, the scars along its body. It rages out and it scrambles forward. It looks over in the direction where you guys are, and all it sees is a herd of megaliths running by, and it full on comes out, eyes blazing with multiple streams of coursing, searing fire. It comes out and it charges the megalith herd.
As it's charging the megalith herd and we're like slipping by, I want to nut check it. See what happens when I nut check a giant creature.
All right,
I'm gonna kick it in its giant balls.
roll it.
It's a save. Con.
Go ahead and roll a charisma check.
See if you
I'm
can
good at
withstand.
those.
See if you can withstand.
All right,
Uh,
so
I
you
got
try to check.
Lucky's back. Hold on, I got Lucky's back. Lucky. Much better.
All right, you manage to smack one nut, but the other nut smacks you.
Oh shit. That's awesome.
So you smack you check the nuts, but there's a recoil slap back at your face, and you get the distinct impression of a textured ball sack just like smashing into your face as you continue to dash towards the tower.
All South Park mode.
All right, so this thing goes on and it charges the aboleth horde, and then you see the aboleths turn against it and begin to flare out with tendrils and psychic attacks. It rages, and you can see the water around it begin to boil, and the aboleths themselves are beginning to sizzle and fry as it's exuding a ton of heat from its core. But you guys managed to make it past it and head into the city of Anwen.
Is it safe to say it definitely has the upper hand?
Yes.
Okay.
I mean, there's a lot of aboleths out there, but you start to see aboleths dropping out of the water as being superheated. But the thing is definitely taking damage from the aboleths.
Okay.
All right, you guys enter the city of Anwen.
Elwin, you need to get your ass outside, because if we run into something, you're gonna have to explain why I look like this.
Wait, are you in megalith form, or are you? You're not gonna. I mean,
I mean,
can-
once we're in the city, right?
yeah, you can only go so far in megalith form inside this thing. The megaliths are fairly large.
Is the current low enough that we can go on our own too?
Inside the city itself, yes. Once
Oh,
you're inside.
then yeah, I'd revert then.
Yeah, the city is being held together by these growths around all the structures.
Okay.
Okay. You enter the city. And all around you is like desolation. There are remnants. It's the remnants of a great city, but it's like the streets are torn apart, buildings are half crumbled. They're only being barely held together by these growths all around you. But so the current is subdued, but the place is a ghost town. It's like walking through a morgue or cemetery. You swear you hear the whispers and maybe the souls of what must have once been a thriving metropolis. All the denizens, all the cities, and all the citizens of this place, but now it's a ghost town. You look around and you can see the muraling along the walls and carvings and the odd statue. This was a powerful merfolk city. You can occasionally see a few caught amongst some of the buildings and the rubble, the skeletal remains of a merfolk, but for the most part, a lot of the corpses and a lot of the remnants of people have been just swept away by the currents. So you guys are literally in a massive ghost town, walking through it, but you do sense that the growths, the patterns of these half biological, half something else, but completely hellish in nature, growth that's been creeping its way up the structures, that they have a point that they're stemming from. Adis, you haven't seen anything like this before, but you remember you're getting snippets of memory of a realm in hell that this kind of that had features that sort of match this description. Okay.
So like the city's empty. I'm gonna
I'll pass that on.
The city is
I'm gonna go to
entirely
the-
empty, devoid of life.
I'm
But you
gonna
can
go to
tell
the
that you can tell that the growths all originate from one spot.
But we
I'm
gotta
gonna
go.
go to
Given-
the Cthulhu killing weapon shop and just like grab something.
Given that information and what Deimos discovered about it, can I do any check to see if I can recall knowing of anyone in hell with a guardian like this?
Roll religion.
It's easy to know who did it.
I will totally spark that.
Who it is.
So 24.
So Deimos, both you and so you've been to hell, Deimos, and you and Adis are kind of talking as you guys are walking. This is a huge city. I mean, you're swimming through it. The current here is still moving, but it's not anything overly dramatic. So you guys are able to slowly move your way through the city. It's massive. It's much larger than Lumos was.
Oh, I can help with that. Deimos, you're carrying Elwin, right?
Mhm.
I'll pull Renly along, and I will, for the time being, use 2 second levels, and I will alter self, me and Deimos, and give us fins.
Okay,
So
just
we
to
have
help
a
with
normal,
with movement.
So we'll have a normal swim speed, yeah.
Okay. So you guys are progressing through the water. The result of your discussions and you kind of start off with I vaguely remember a description about this for my time in hell, and Deimos saying, yeah, there's mythological stories from from histories long past that describe people seeing things like this. So what you know is that what you can recall is that there's definitely evidence that this growth and this power come from Beator, which is hell itself, and you know, Adis, that it's from one of the deeper levels. So I mean, you were stuck on the first level of hell, which was what did we call it? Fuck, I forget.
Avernus.
Something like that. No, was it Dispater? No. The city of Dis. I think that's what it was. And that's where Pepin was, and where Mistress Ambrosia was, and all that stuff that you guys did. Remember all that?
Yeah.
So that was the first layer of hell. You know that just your sense of this place, that this is something from much deeper, much darker, much more ancient and powerful in its own hellish, infernal nature. You're feeling as you walk towards the core, the center of the city, as you swim towards the center of the city. This place is just throbbing with infernal power.
Hey, Deimos.
Mhm.
What, and Elwin, what do y'all think could be so powerful here that Fuckboy wouldn't even want demons anywhere near it?
Who knows? We're gonna find out though.
All right,
It
but
makes you wonder, though.
yeah, I'm gonna have to head out. I gotta think.
Probably
I
a
gotta
good
go.
place to stop.
So so we'll end it here. But you guys know that this thing is hellish in nature. It is intensely powerful. The snippets that you've heard from your conversations along the way down here, that Anwen went dark before the invasion, right? So it predates the invasion, and that there's a suspicion that Asmodeus set the Maw of the Void in place before he left, in order to either keep this thing subdued or to eventually destroy it.
Mm. So
Keep
it's one of
that.
yeah,
Keep
one of
the. Keep
Asmodeus'
Winged Dude
rivals.
subdued.
No, the thing that's in the core of the city.
Oh,
So the winged thing that's outside it was just its guardian.
all right. So, can I, before we go, can I do a quick check just in kind of to try to get a sense, a measure of the power difference between Big Boy's beams and my Big Form's eye beams? Like, could I tell based on how it affected the water how much more powerful it is than mine?
Um,
Okay.
it would have been on the order of so your form is a takeaway from Baruch, you know.
Right.
So it's a smaller version of Baruch because Baruch was a couple miles tall. You're like 300 feet tall, right?
Right.
So it's not quite as powerful as Baruch's eye beams were, the original one.
Well, I mean, compared to my forms.
It's more powerful than yours.
Yeah, but I'm trying to figure out like how much more powerful.
Um,
Because like I've used mine, so I know like how much water it displaces, blows up, vaporizes compared to when he shot at Deimos.
your slaying gaze. It's actually maybe, maybe like 30 or 40% more powerful.
He's 30 to 40% more powerful.
The beam was.
Okay. So if it comes down to it, guys, we might be able to take that fucker, but we might want to avoid it if we can.
Okay.
All right, guys, I'm gonna head out. Thank you so much for the game. It's
Yep.
dope as shit.
It was
We
lots
will-
of fun. That was
yeah.
probably that was a really entertaining session. You guys have a good night.
Yeah.
See you guys.
We'll catch you guys next week.
Yep.